Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Wednesday, October 9th of 2024. And on this show, I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things that I think they can do differently in their builds to help them build stronger lineups and submit stronger lineups into their contests and ultimately improving their post-contest sim ROIs. We do this show Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you ever want to get signed up for a show, all you need to do is drop your DK username in the office hours channel in our Discord server, and I will add you to the queue for a future show. So we have 2 people signed up today, and we are going to be doing our first NHL review of the season here. So we have one for NHL, and then we have one for the NFL main slate. So let's jump right in and get going with this. So first person up is going to be Renegade, and we will jump back to yesterday's slate, 3-game NHL slate, and let's go to the contest tab. All right, so pretty good contest selection. Happy with what I'm seeing, right? Playing lower dollar single entry, playing the hip check, which is a good contest, throwing one in the big one. I think that's totally cool. So contest selection looks fine to me. Now we are going to study their lineups in the hip check first. So let's jump in here, go over to users. We got Renegade here, 20 entries, sim ROI. All right, so top sim ROIs in like the 25 to 35% range. Good news here is that Renegade is positive sim ROI, about 6%. There is some room for improvement, so we will see what we can do. Studying NHL is going to be very, very different here. You know, line stacking and the stacks you're using are super, super important in NHL. So we just can't come in here and say like, oh yeah, play higher sim average score lineups, because that isn't always good, right? So correlation, very, very important in NHL. So we're going to have to approach this a little bit differently. Now, the way I would approach this is probably by going to on a user by user basis. So clicking and magnifying for the user, going to projections, going to stack exposure. So one, what type of stacks are they running here, right? 4-2-2s, 3-3-2s, 4-3s, 4-2s, 3-3s, like kind of like noting these down. And then what I would really be doing is, coming in here, looking at their team stacks as well, going through like the individual tabs, and then going and comparing those to some of the top sets. And it's always good to do this the day after a slate, because you just have that like slate knowledge and it'll still be kind of with you. So let's do this here. So let's go. Okay, so Renegade. And then I'm just going to make some notes on my pen and paper here. So stack types. So 4-2-2, 25%. 3-3-2, 20%. 4-3, 20%. 4-2, 15%. 3-3, 10%. 3-2-2, 5%, and then 6 stack, 5%. So those are my stack type notes. I would recommend going in here and doing the same in all of the tabs for like 6 stacks, 4 stacks, 3 stacks. It'll probably be pretty time intensive here to do this, but let's go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So Florida, 5% in the 6, no 5s. 4 stacks, Seattle, 25, Florida 15, St. Louis 10, Boston and Utah both 5, 3 stacks. So let's see, Utah, Seattle, Chicago, St. Louis, Boston, Florida. 25, 20, 15, 15, 5, 5. Okay, last one. 2 stacks. Boston, Utah, Florida, Chicago, Seattle, St. Louis, 30, 25, 25, 15, and then the last two are 0. So I've got all this info down. Great. Now what I would do is go back to where I was at, and then I would just start going into like the top ROI sets and basically like comparing these, right? Like, okay, let's take this guy, Floydian 80, Floydian 80, 46% sim ROI. So your third highest stack exposure of 4.3 was their top, which you had 20%, they have 30%. That's not a big difference. I'll say one thing that stands out to me kind of right away, right? They actually played 7 total lineups of 5 stacks, and Renegade played 0 5 stacks. So that's kind of interesting, right? Where we have this player with 5 2s and even 5, with one-offs here. They're getting to more 5 stacks than Renegade is. So like, I don't know yet if Renegade purposely avoided those or what, but being open to 5 stacks is something that I would be noting here, right? Like, hey, if I'm Xing them or something, don't do that. Be okay playing 5 stacks. All right. And then for like stack types, so they got to some more 6 stacks. We got to 5%. This person got to 15. We talked about that was 6 stacks. They got to 15% 6 stacks. We got to 5. We know we didn't get to any 5 stacks. 4 stacks. So interesting, right? Our top was Seattle and their top is Utah. So it seems like they just got to a lot of Utah, right? Utah 6 stacks, Utah 5 stacks, Utah 4 stacks. And we got to mostly Utah 3 stacks and 2 stacks. So it's almost like they flipped that, right? They're like, okay, let's go heavy on the Utah. And then Renegade was like, okay, let's go smaller on the Utah, right? And then like when the slate factors and you're like in this every day, you can learn things about like, okay, I thought this other team was better or whatnot, how did they get to so much of this Utah? And then maybe you go and look like the ownership dynamics. Maybe you go and look at like how the projections grade out when you do that, and you could iterate on that and learn from it. So my biggest takeaways here are that even though Utah had the highest goal total, right? 3.5. And even though it was a small slate, basically the builder is telling me like, hey, you don't need to fade the highest goal total team on a big slate. And you can play, ultra correlated stacks of that team here. And then also just being open to like more like 5 and 6 stacks on a big slate, right? Because if you look, this player had a total of, 25 plus 15 is 40. Over 50% of their lineups on a 3-game slate were 5 or 6 stacks, right? So that's pretty interesting, right? Ultra correlated stacks using a lot of the highest goal total team and just rolling with that seemed to be a pretty good option here. So this is what I would probably be doing if I was studying NHL every day. I'd probably do like the top 3 users and do this same exact process. And then, I would go into my build and be like, hey, what did I do here that, got away from those things? So I'm almost positive minimum salary is a lot lower for a 3-game slate. So it seems like they upped the minimum salary a lot here. You could study other users like, hey, what was their lowest salary lineups? What are they allowing? We have one rule just to get rid of EV line 4 players. Stack at least 4 on a power play line. Stack at least 3 on an even strength line. Don't use skaters against opposing goalie. This doesn't look inherently bad to me. I'm almost positive the stack 3 players prevents you from getting to the 5 stacks specifically. So like maybe you turn that off, right? Maybe you lower it to 2. you know, you can still get to the 6 because you could have 3 and 3, and that can satisfy. You can have three players from the same team satisfy both rules, and then that gets you a 6 stack, right? So I would probably rethink having this stack 3 players rule, maybe lower it to 2. That could be something there. But and then I would also look into like if other top users are using such a high minimum salary, because this seems really, really high from the defaults, which I think were like a lot lower. So you can get like a third party opinion on that as well. All right. Sorry about that. Other than that, I think this is okay. So give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Heard something fall. Had to make sure everything was good. All right. So that basically concludes this NHL review here. And that would be like everything I'm trying to do. So NHL contest reviews are going to be a lot different from like NFL. So a lot of the principles that we talked about there are different. So just be aware of those things. And this would be my initial approach to studying lineups for NHL in contest flashback. So Renegade, hope that helps. All right. So next person up is going to be HC, and we are going to do a review for NFL. So let's get HC up on the screen. We'll keep the review show rolling. All right, get Saberson back. Going to jump back to Sunday's main slate. All right, so we're going to start in the contest tab as always. Notice that they're playing like a number of slates here. I think that's always good. So now getting into the contest tab. Contest section is good, right? Starting from the ground up here. Dime time, quarter, mini max. If you can, mix in some of the smaller dollar single entries, 3 maxes, you know, the $1, 3 max. If you can get to some of those, that's great. But that would be my only critique there. All right, so let's jump into and we will let this load. All right. Going to sort by sim ROI. And good news, right? HC is a very high sim ROIer in this contest, 61%. Some of the highest we're seeing are like closer to like 70%, you know, somewhere in that range. So very, very close to the top, which is great. Sim average score is right where we've been saying all week it needed to be, like in that 130 to 135 range. And HC is in that 131.46. Uniqueness looks good. High average salary. And I would be really happy with seeing this. So let's jump into a build. We're not going to learn too much more here from this analysis. So let's go and see what HC is doing. Notice that they did run a swap, right? So re-op. All right. So getting into this build. One thing I see right out of the gate that's actually kind of surprising, right? Is minimum salary is 0, yet we saw that their average salary was like 49.8. That's honestly really impressive to me, like by the builder, that with a minimum salary of 0, they're still getting to such high salary lineups with no floor. So pretty impressive. I like having the floor. It makes me feel comfortable. If you're okay not having it and it's not affecting you, then I think it's okay to do. If you were having lower salary lineups and I noticed that, and then I came in here and saw the minimum salary at 0, I would tell you to increase it. So not saying you need to do that, because that doesn't seem to be a problem. But that is just a note there. No filters, no rules, no lineup filters. ROI, average ROI aggregate metric, average projection aggregate metric. These are the ones I recommend. This is good. No exposure adjustments in the all tab. None in the quarterback. None in the defense. Allowing all stack types. No other changes in team or game stacks. This is a super hands-off process, right? This person is coming in here, lowering minimum salary, probably just making the required 2 adjustments, 2 projections, no filters, rules, lineup filters, letting it run, and then coming in here to direct fill, sorting by unique rank, possibly filling the lineups together, possibly doing them separately. I'm not 100% sure, but this is cool, right? This is probably a done in 5 to 10 minute process, and they're grading out really, really well in the post contest sim. So I'd be very happy if I was this person. I saw that they didn't do great in the quarter jukebox. That's okay. Their sim ROIs are really strong, and then they're playing multiple slates, right? So playing multiple slates is only going to help you to realize your ROI faster if you're spreading out that action. So I like it a lot. So great job, HC. There's not that much to talk about, and that's just because you're doing such a good job. All right. So really quickly, Trevor asked a question here. We do have a little bit of time, so happy to answer it. Trevor said, I have a quick question. Hope this is the right place. I'm on the newer side to SaberSim, but an Ultimate subscriber for about 4 weeks now. Welcome, Trevor. Quick question. If I use autofill and use target contest ROI, that's no different than me ordering the actual contest's ROI, right? Okay. So let's just talk about how this works. So right now we're in direct fill, right? And I'm just going to use this user's build as a demo. They're in direct fill. They're sorting by ROI. Because all 3 contests are selected, the builder is using the average ROI across the 3 contests. So it's basically saying, okay, the ROI for lineup 1 in the mini max is 76. And then the same lineup, this lineup's ROI in the quarter jukebox is 59. And then this same lineup, the ROI in the dime time is 81. And then it basically averages those numbers out, and then that comes out to 72.5. The 72 number is what's getting used in direct fill right now. Now, if we go to autofill, and even though all the contests are selected at the same time, when we click save, what happens is that we basically uncheck them all. We select the top contest. We sort by that contest specific ROI. We fill it, and then we move on to the next one. So this one would not be using the 72 number. It would be using whatever specific number was for the mini max. And it's resorting all the lineups, applying the uniques, and then filling it, taking those lineups out of the pool, and then going to the next contest's ROI, resorting the available lineups, filling these, et cetera, et cetera. So here, in autofill, if I select the top contest and it says 2 uniques, to get the same exact set of lineups, I would have to go to direct fill, go to ROI 2 uniques, and then I would have to come in here and only select the mini max, and then it will use that contest specifically. You're not going to be able to get the same effect for contest 2 and 3, but you can get it for the top contest specifically. So hope that helps. We do have a tutorial in our help docs that talks about autofill versus direct fill. So if you go over to the top right corner menu, you go to our support library, you click help, and you come in here. If you click view more, we're going to have, I believe it's a SaberSim frequently asked questions and glossary. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. SaberSim tutorials. Okay, so in SaberSim tutorials, autofill versus direct fill and fill methods. So this is actually really new. We just updated this at the beginning of this week. So it has a little bit of a different feel. So I'm going to drop this here in the YouTube chat. You guys can check out this video. If anybody needs a refresher, this is going to be a really, really good video describing that. But happy to talk about that. Trevor said, as clarity, when I go to contests, target contests, was that the same as the ROI that you showed? So yes. So target contest is what you're going to want to use as long as you're uploading an entry file. If you are not uploading an entry file, you're going to have to create a manual contest sim. And then you would have to go to contest sim. Under target would be like your manual contest sim and select the ROI there. So as long as you are uploading an entry file, it is cool to go to target contests and then use ROI. All right. Good stuff there. Nice question to finish us off here. So appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll be right back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern for office hours, 5 p.m. Eastern for the Build Review Show. And until then, good luck, everybody. Take care. Thanks. Bye.